Good morning, my beloved peeps. This isn't like a consecutive video where I did my unboxing from Maestrinista, and now I'm doing another one. This is actually the next day, and yes, I did sleep in my clothes. So, this is an unboxing of sorts, but let me set you up with the background. Okay, here's the backstory. My friend Margie had a great aunt who recently died. I think she was probably in her 90s. And this woman, I mean, think about the time she lived. She was born in the 1920s, a child in the 1920s. She became a teenager in the 30s during the Depression. So she saw the jazz age and the age of prohibition and flappers and complete social upheaval. She grew up as a child in that time. Then here comes the 30s that beat everybody back down and became drab and gray and hard. So she was a teenager through that. Right on the heels of that, as she came of age, here comes World War II, which was never supposed to happen because World War I was the war to end all wars, right? So she, as a young woman, she was involved in that time, then lived through all of that. Then the Cold War happened, Korea, civil rights movement, the women's movement, the whole upheaval of the 60s, she got to live through that. She got to see the advent of the cell phone, the internet. I mean, this woman lived through some very interesting times. And part of what makes this woman so interesting is that she was a world traveler. I don't know if she ever married. Oh, bolt wants out. Hang on a minute, I'm gonna let my dog out. And he still wants to bark. Come here, Bolt. What you doing, buddy? Huh? He just wants to bark, so we're going to try to ignore that. I hope he doesn't bark too much. Anyhow, so she was a world traveler. She brought home souvenirs from everywhere. She was an equestrian. She was a horse lover. She was just this really eclectic lady. And what's so interesting is my friend didn't know this about this woman, Aunt Irma. She didn't know how fascinating Aunt Irma had been. What an interesting woman. Because by the time my friend kind of got all up in the scene with Aunt Irma, well, she was older, kind of prim, proper, and buttoned up. But after she passed away, they found a treasure trove of stuff in her house. They brought it all home. All the kids got to choose it. There were some dribs and drabs. My friend went back over. She got a few things. And I told her, wow, you know, this stuff that you've got super, super cool. I'm wondering are you guys going to have a yard sale? She says, yeah, we are. I said, well, ask your mom if it's okay if I come over and buy some stuff from what's going to be the yard sale. I'm happy to buy it. So she asked her mom that, and her mother said, well, you know what, just pick out a few things for Cheryl just as a gift, which was awfully, awfully sweet. So my friend did. Now, my friend doesn't know a whole lot about antiques, collectibles, any of that stuff, but she's got an eye, right? So she comes back with this load of junk, and first she's showing me her stuff. She pulls out some neat stuff. Well, then she pulls out this belt, right? It was a braided and tooled thin leather belt with a silver buckle and silver, you know, tips, and you know, all the little appointments were silver. And I'm looking at this belt, and I flip it over, and I see the hallmark on the inside, and I said, you know, I have a feeling this belt is valuable. So, me being me, I hop online and Google the thing. They're selling on eBay for $3,000. Old belts in the same condition that this one was in. It was a guy sort of akin to saddles and western wear as Tiffany, Lures Comfort Tiffany was to jewelry and lamps and home appointments. I mean, he only worked for a few decades, and all of his stuff was handmade. He used to do the show saddles for the Tournament of Roses parade. He made saddles for Roy Rogers. So I was so thrilled to be able to tell my friend that everybody else in her family passed up what was probably one of the coolest things in her whole collection. They're going for the diamonds and emeralds and, you know, expensive china and silver, and my friend's picking through the weird little figurines and the stuff with the broken ears and the you know, the worn belts that nobody was interested in. So I thought that was great. I love it when people win without even knowing they were in the race. I just love that. So anyhow, let me show you what she picked out for me. I'm going to start with the big thing. This is a music box. It's not a valuable music box. It's just something made in China that was probably purchased in the 1960s. But here's the cool thing. Isn't that neat? I love this. Okay, I saw this thing and I immediately thought of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. Any of you guys who have ever been to the Haunted Mansion know what I'm talking about. You know, it's about midway through the ride and you're going through the ballroom. My dog's just going to bark. I'll talk in between it. You're going through the ballroom, right? And there are all the ghost dancers swirling around doing this creepy waltz in the big ballroom, right? This totally reminded me of that. And what was so neat was that when I opened it up and it started playing music, I immediately was flashed back to the feelings of being in Disneyland, riding the rides, going to the Haunted Mansion, which is one of my very favorite rides next to the old Pirates of the Caribbean before they, you know, politically correctified it. And so it was really, really cool to get that thing. Now, let me show you some of the other cool things I got. I'm going to be dipping down in here to get the box, so forgive me for falling out of frame. Alrighty. So the first thing I saw sticking up out of the box was, let me extract it. All this stuff is made of glass in China, most of it. Was this Coolio Siamese Cat, China Siamese Cat. And I immediately felt an affinity for it because both of our cats are Siamese mixes, but also because my husband grew up in a family that didn't really have pets, but at one point his little brother wanted a cat very badly, so they ended up with a Siamese cat that they named Mischief. And that was their family pet for years and years and years. So this kind of reminds me of Mischief. So I think of this for a Grant's gift. Come here, Bo. Come here, bud. Then she gave me something else I saw that was sticking up out of the box was this. Hang on. Okay, this is just a Jim Beam bottle. These used to be collectible and valuable. They are less so now. This one probably is chipped somewhere. No, maybe it's not. Anyhow, I got this one for my mom. I mean, I'm going to give this one to my mama because my mama loves yellow roses. And they remind her of her mother. So I think this belongs at my mother's apartment. Come here, Bo. At my mother's apartment on her buffet. I really like that. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put the dogs inside. Hang on. Okie dokie. I put the dogs to bed and I moved the camera back a little bit so I could show you things a little bit better. Then she handed me this stack of plates, and let me show you those. Okay, these plates, I would venture to say this woman probably painted them herself because there were a collection of them, and they are these little hand-painted china pieces that used to be so popular. People started making these around the turn of the century. Women would go to china painting classes, and they would make these lovely little hand-painted china dishes. Now this one here is commercially made, And let's see what the, am I wearing my glasses? No. Oh, here are my glasses. Hang on. I'm going to see what the hallmark is on it. It is Hushenruther and Hilb, made in Bulgaria? I think Bulgaria. I love violets, so this one was especially lovely. An especially lovely gift. Now, let me show you the other little things. There were also some little dishes in here, like for nuts and stuff. This is a little nut or candy dish in the that carnival glass kind of finish. I have several pieces of this in this color. I have glasses, and I have a big fruit bowl and some other things, so that's kind of cool. There was this funky little covered thing that it's got angels on the front. It's a little covered dish in what, it's like a porcelain, and on the back it's in a little handwritten note. It says English potpourri. So this was probably in her bathroom, I'm guessing. So anyhow, this is cool because I have a lot of stuff like this in my bathroom. And here's something that I just adore. Again, it's a little nut dish or candy dish with violets. And this is also made, I think, by the same company that made that other one. And I just love it. Again, violets. Now, what I'm planning on doing with all of these china pieces, I have, like I said, quite a collection of my own. What I'm thinking about doing is painting my my kitchen that antique night dress color that I like so much. Maybe doing a soffit or a wall that's made of the old fence lumber that I've been hoarding, or the old barn lumber. And then I want to hang this stuff against a dark wall. I think it would be really, really pretty. So I'm probably going to decorate with it. In addition to all of that, she gave me a Myrtlewood from Oregon, a Myrtlewood Nut Bowl. I love this because for a couple of reasons. It's just got a coolio mid-century vibe, and even though I'm like Victorian and old-fashioned and all that junk, I have this real affinity for mid-century design as well. You know, 50s, 1950s. So this is neat, and I'm sure we are going to use this. The other reason I like it is because something that I use every day, a small wooden Myrtlewood chopping, not block, but what do you call those things? Chopping board, I guess you call it, cutting board, from the same place, was given to me by a friend after her husband died, and her husband and I had been close friends. He was one of my dad's business partners, and I looked up to him like a second dad. Anyhow, it's kind of nice to have another piece that sort of reminds me of him. And the other thing, she gave me this. Now, she's a smoker. She rolls her own cigarettes, and when she comes to visit, we always come out on the porch. She smokes outside. But she gave this to me so that she would have her own little handheld ashtray when she was at my house. I thought that was so cute. So I'll keep this in a place where she can always just grab it when she's over here, and we'll do our porch sitting and smoking. She also gave me this. This is, let's see, it's plastic. Just a little necklace. It's certainly not in a style that I would wear. However, this is the sort of thing that I would take apart and do something with. So this goes in the bead supplies area. And this was a very sweet thing for her to find. It's missing an ear, but it's a little bronze burrito. that cute? And you know what? It looks just like him too. I mean, that really was what he looked like when you saw him standing up on the hill. It came with a little saddle thing, and it's from the Grand Canyon. It's one of those souvenir deals. But I just thought that was so sweet. So when Burrito finally gets his monument, which he will down in the pet cemetery with all the other animals, I think this is going to be epoxied to his monument. And she gave me some other things that are really neat. I'm saving the thing that is the coolest for the very last. So she gave me this set of cards, playing cards, called Characters in Water Margin from China. This is before China was mass produced. This is when China was like a cool thing to get something from China. But I want to show you the artwork on these cards. They are Chinese little characters and people. There's warriors and kings and queens and different sorts of I think most of them are warriors of one type or another. So I thought this was really neat. I'm not much of a card player, but I love cards and I collect them. So there you go. The other thing that was in the box that is super cool is these little scorecards, and they are in Chinese. Aren't those neat? Now these will make their way into a scrapbook or some sort of an art project, I know, because they're just cool. Alright, so I'm going to show you the last thing. Alright. A deck of old gypsy fortune-telling cards. Now, this is copyright 1940. It was probably made, I'm guessing, in the 1950s. I'm guessing. Just kind of based on the typeface that's used on the instruction card. And inside was a little hand-typed on onions, well, obviously hand-typed, a typed kind of instruction thing that the woman had made so that she could remember what the different cards meant when you do, when you do a spread for fortune telling. It has a little booklet in it that explains what all the cards mean and how to do a spread. And then the cards themselves have, which I dropped on the floor, but that's okay, they've got really beautiful artwork. Very vintage, beautiful artwork. Aren't those pretty? So, like I always do, I looked them up on eBay, and this set of cards in this condition sells for about $40 or so. So, I get on, and I texted her last night. I said, hey, I looked up the fortune-telling cards. They sell for about $40, and she texts back, well, sell those suckers. You need the money. So I called her, and I said, no. These cards are an investment. Yes, I could get $40 if I turned around and sold them. But think of how much money I could make if I dressed up like a gypsy and did a YouTube channel doing gypsy fortune-telling card readings for, $10 a piece or something. I said, I could actually make some money with these things. This is my seed. And my seed, you are never broke when you got a seed, let me tell you. So she's laughing about that. So anyhow, that was my gift haul, I guess you would call it, from my very dear friend who knows me well and picked out just lovely things. Every one of them I adore. And what's especially wonderful is all stuff that the family just didn't want, overlooked, give it away, throw it out, put it in the dumpster. We don't care, we're not interested. So that makes it all the more special. And I I found another piece of wire when I was cleaning today, so this is going to make a small little heart. So, oh, one more thing. I told you guys, I don't know if I've told you, but I want to build a little garden house, you know, using my old doors and windows and stuff. And I'm getting inspired by this particular garden house. The man who built this thing built it for his wife, kind of to her specifications, using all these old doors and windows. And I think it just really turned out cool. I really like it. I love the inside. And you can see where they've kind of pieced the windows together to make this greenhouse. And here's a picture of it from afar. You can kind of get a sense of what it looks like. So anyhow, I'm kind of using this as my inspiration. I want something that's all white on the inside, that's not completely closed in, but where I can use up all of my doors and windows that I've been saving. And I had another idea. Okay, I've got like these old, I've got an old range from like the 1930s. I've got an old, one of those rounded marshmallow looking refrigerators from the 1950s. I've got some oil heaters from, you know, way long ago, and an old Formica top table. And I was thinking it would be really cool to build this thing and then to set those pieces in there as if it were an old kitchen, and we kind of have like this cutaway view of this old kitchen with these, just a few pieces, not a whole bunch of stuff, just a few pieces of these kind of iconic old appliances. I thought that would look really neat. So, sometime in the future, when I'm done doing all the other stuff I want to do, I will probably work on that. And I will, of course, keep you informed. So, on that happy note, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm obviously feeling much better than I was. So, I hope all of you guys are feeling good as well. And like Coleman said, if you're not happy, try harder. And that's what I did. I wasn't happy, so I tried harder. I found things to make me happy. I was lucky. That doesn't always work, but it worked for me in this case. So, see you guys later. Bye!